A research group says the spread of COVID-19 infections in Metro Manila is starting to slow down. That's even as cases nationwide continue to rise with over 16,000 fresh infections today. Some athletes and staff bound for the 2020 Tokyo Paralympics tested positive for the virus. Defeated Manny Pacquiao is open to retiring and focusing on politics ahead of the 2022 elections. And more overseas Filipino workers have been evacuated from the war-torn country of Afghanistan. Fast, focused, and fearless, here's a roundup of stories we're watching now. I'm Riza Diaz. The Octa Research Group says the Delta variant is driving the surge in new infections not only in Metro Manila but also in Calabarzon and Central Luzon. Speaking to us earlier, Professor Guido David of Octa Research pointed out that the Philippine Genome Center's latest biosurveillance effort detected the Delta variant in nearly 50% of the sampled cases. David said that while the highly transmissible variant is prevalent in Metro Manila, it has also already spread to other regions.
The Delta variant is really prevalent at this time in the NCR. We think it is the primary source of transmission, but it's not just happening in the NCR. It's also happening in Calabarzon and Central Luzon. We think that the Delta variant has spread to these other regions.
But David also noted that the spread of COVID-19 in Metro Manila is slowing down. In its latest monitoring report, Octa Research said that the growth rate has gone down to 24% this week compared to last week's 48%. Reproduction number also decreased to 1.67 from 1.90.
Before we go on a downward trend, the growth rate must first decrease to about 0, and then it will become negative. It may take us 2 to 3 weeks or even longer to reduce the reproduction number to less than 1.
The Health Department reports 16,000 new COVID-19 cases. This brings the country's total caseload closer to 1.84 million, some 125,900 of which are still active. At least 215 more COVID deaths were confirmed overnight, bringing the death toll to over 31,800. Total recoveries are at 1.6 million, with nearly 14,000 new survivors in the last 24 hours. Now, around 25% of the 65,500 people recently tested for COVID-19 yielded positive results. Now, one hospital group is considering to sever its affiliation with PhilHealth following a recent circular. Patients now fear that the discounts they get in hospitals from PhilHealth may no longer be available. Camille Samonte has the story.
Discounts from state-run insurer PhilHealth come in handy to dialysis patients like Alberto Duran. His dialysis costs more than 4,000 pesos per session, and he does this twice a week. But thanks to his PhilHealth discount, he's only paying half the price at a private hospital in Pasay City. Duran said it would be difficult for him to continue his treatment without the PhilHealth subsidy.
Talagang mahihirapan kami, baka mapaaga kami mamamatay kung bihira na kami mag-dialysis.
Ramon Macaraig meanwhile has to borrow money every week to be consistent with his dialysis. He is paying only 1,000 pesos per session, but he is now concerned that he might have to pay in full. This as some private hospitals are now reviewing their engagement with PhilHealth.
Ito nga lang pandemic nagkakanbaw na kami ng utang. Bakit? Siyempre, kailangan naman dialysis . Kung hindi naman pwedeng ipagpaliban din.
PhilHealth recently released a circular which temporarily suspends payment of claims of hospitals. This covers those under investigation for fraud, unethical activity, and abuse of authority. The agency said the policy is just a preventive measure to avoid loss of funds to irregular claims. But for the Private Hospital Association of the Philippines, this policy is just a tactic to delay payment claims. PhilHealth allegedly still had over 86 billion pesos unpaid claims to hospitals across the country.
Halos hindi po kami nababayaran. Kaya yun po, yung utang na sinasabi nila, sabi nila in process right now, ay yun po hinihintay namin na talagang maibigay nila.
De Grano noted that some of them are now thinking not to renew their PhilHealth accreditation. When this happens, patients will now have to pay for their own medical bills without subsidy from the state insurer.
Siyempre, ang ating pasyente will have to get from out of their pockets. Ano? Kung halimbawa, kung matuloy yun, ay hindi po sila, maa-admit po sila. Meron pa rin po ang benefits nila. May benefits naman po sila, hindi naman mawawala yun. Yun nga lang, dahil pagka nasuspend po ang aming mga payments na ganyan, saan po kukunin ng ospital ang ipagpapatuloy na serbisyo namin.
But De Grano said they will continue to serve PhilHealth-covered patients until the end of their contract.
May enough time po na mag-decide ang mga hospitals at saka mga doctors kung itutuloy pa po namin ang aming renewal sa PhilHealth. Kasi po ngayon, karamihan sa kanila ay ayaw na.
PhilHealth meanwhile assured its members and accredited providers that all good claims will not be affected. For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
Several members of Team Philippines bound for the 2020 Tokyo Paralympics test positive for COVID-19. The Philippine Paralympic Committee said some officials, coaches, and a para-athlete from the delegation caught the virus and are now in isolation. With this, Philippine para-athletes are now slashed to just 5. There is no information yet on the para-athlete who tested positive for the virus. Still, the PPC said it remains optimistic for the team's performance in Tokyo. Manny Pacquiao is unable to defeat Yordenis Ugas for the WBA welterweight belt. Question now is, or arising rather, whether the Filipino boxing champ is ready for retirement. Lynn Olivario with the story.
To shock the world. And
despite the upset, Manny Pacquiao remained gracious in his defeat against Cuban Yordenis Ugas. In his first fight, after a 2-year absence from the ring, the 42-year-old boxing great looked as if Father Time finally caught up with him. The younger Ugas dominated with his stinging jab and cleaner punching to retain his WBA welterweight belt. The Cuban boxer seized this opportunity brilliantly to win on all 3 cards, with one judge scoring it 115 to 113 and 2 others 116 to 112.
I'm sorry that we lost tonight, but I did my best and I apologize. I congratulate my opponent, Yordenis Ugas, for making tough tonight and for winning tonight. So that's boxing. Let's face another tomorrow again and plan our future.
The Filipino senator explained that while he was ready for his 35-year-old post style, he had a hard time adjusting right away. It didn't help as well that his legs were cramping up during the match.
It's like my 2 legs is tight and hurting me in second round until 12 rounds. So, but I'm not making excuses. It's 100%, but I don't know, my legs is cramping. I think because we did a lot in training, we posed a lot. That's why.
Speaking during the post-fight press conference, Pacquiao seemed to allude to hanging up his gloves after decades of prize fighting.
So I don't know, but well, we're not young anymore.
Moments later, Manny expounded.
In my heart, I want to fight. I want to continue fight. But the thing is, I have to consider also my body. I have to consider a lot of things, especially of my works back to the Philippines, back to my country. There's a lot of things that I need to accomplish. And
After the fight, Hall of Fame trainer Freddie Roach believes retirement may be on the table for the best fighter he ever handled.
And he's my best customer I've ever had. He's the best guy, the best fighter, and I hate to see that day when he retires, but this could be it. And we didn't have a great performance tonight, but we'll see what Manny decides.
Pacman was similarly inconclusive when asked about his plans to run for president in the Philippines.
I will make a final announcement next month, and I don't know. I know that I'm facing a big problem in more difficult works than boxing. So, but I want to help the people. I want to help them.
Ugas meanwhile thanked Pacquiao for sharing the ring with him, saying that he will always look up to Manny for being a great human being and a class act. Ugas said he admires Manny because he fights for his country, in the same manner that he dedicates his victory to Cuba. For News 5, Lynn Olivario, We Are One News.
Now, despite his loss in the boxing ring, Senator Manny Pacquiao's supporter remains to be a champion. But how is his family reacting to his defeat? Gemma Vansenia with the story.
And we are underway here.
Even before the match between Senator Manny Pacquiao and his Cuban opponent Yordenis Ugas began, Pacquiao's mother Janisha had been solemnly praying the rosary inside the San Isidro Labrador Chapel in General Santos City. She even approached each religious image to say a prayer. And instead of watching the live streaming of her son's fight, Mami D focused all her energies on praying for his victory.
What a fight here in Las Vegas. Ugas feels
The match ended with a unanimous decision in favor of Ugas. Pacquiao's relatives and staff who were keeping an eye on the match were disappointed by the results. Pacquiao's sister, Elisa Onding, even claimed that it was rigged.
Sinabi ko na talagang dadayain. Niluto yung score. Kaninang umaga pa lang, sinabi ko na kapag walang natumba, talagang dadayain.
But for Mami D, the defeat should be accepted and treated as a sign that his son should already hang up his boxing gloves.
O kinsa mang manalo matalo, dawato na lang. Kaging na nako, sa nanalo siya atong una.
Kung sino man ang manalo o matalo, tanggapin na lang. Sinabihan ko na siya, nung nanalo siya dati, magretiro na. Ngayong natalo siya, dapat magretiro na talaga. Di niya na kaya yung lakas ni Ugas. May katapat na yung anak ko. Tignan mo nga yung dito ni Ugas, oh.
Despite the defeat, Pacquiao's fans in General Santos City are still very proud of their boxing champ.
Kahit matalo siya, siya pa rin yung pambansang kamao natin. Siya pa rin yung panalo para sa aming Pilipino. Yes!
Sa akin lang, panalo naman si Manny. Kaso lang, parang sa sa puntos lang. Pero dismayado kami kasi natalo yung kababayan natin eh. Kahit na ganito nga natalo man, pero para sa amin, panalo pa rin siya.
Manny, Manny, yeah!
For News 5, Gem Avancenia, We Are One News.
Let's now take a quick look at today's other top stories. At least 31 more Filipinos were able to leave Taliban-ruled Afghanistan. The Foreign Affairs Department said 16 Filipinos have left Kabul via a military flight to the United Kingdom. Some 13 more Pinoys, meanwhile, are now in Oslo, Norway, while one landed in Kazakhstan and another one in Kuwait. Overall, 175 Filipinos have been evacuated, with around 32 still in Kabul. Tropical cyclone Isang has weakened into a tropical storm as it left the country's area of responsibility on Sunday afternoon. The location of Isang was estimated at 605 kilometers northeast of Itbayat, Batanes at around 4 p.m. Pagasa said Isang is no longer expected to affect the country in the coming days. And Shanike Rabe from Nambia was crowned to 2021 Miss Supranatural in ceremonies staged in Malapostka, Poland. Rabe is the first African to win the coveted title after besting 57 other aspirants from around the world. The Philippines' Dindi Pajares meanwhile finished in the top 12. She was also first runner-up in the Miss Elegance contest. And for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.